You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the third episode of Netflix original series, Orange is the New Black, episode 3, entitled Lesbian Request Denied. What a great title. Personally, I wish the lesbian request wouldn't have been denied. I mean, but you know, whatever. Teachers. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and joining me today is...
Hi guys, I'm McKay.
What up? I'm Megan Thomas, also known as @MegScoop.
Hey guys, what's up? Scott Moore.
Scott Moore.
Scott Moore.
Also known as @MegScoop. And McKay is in the house today to talk about this episode. It was a kind of a crazy episode with crazy eyes and Piper and that whole little shaboing boing thing going on. She's really trying to woo Piper. She's really trying to.
I think she's moving past the wooing. She's going right for it.
She is not holding any punches. This one here is just like, wow. It's almost like, how do I say no? Do I say yes for fear of my safety? Because they call her crazy eyes for a reason.
Right.
Well, she maneuvers around that when she needs to use it for her own benefit.
I mean,
so
I
think she did a good job.
You know, sometimes she's like extremely like intelligent to me, and then at other times it's like, oh, watch out.
Right. You never know what you're gonna get.
I mean, episode starts out with Piper going to the restroom and Burset, Sophia, is like, this is your home now, so you need to go ahead and get used to it.
Even before that, she was like, you can look, I paid a lot for this.
Yeah,
right.
Which was a great line.
Right.
She was like, I don't mind. Shoot. Like, she's proud. So you see Crazy Eyes like peeking around the corner. Like taking a peek. Now,
Crazy.
I have 3 hot questions for this episode, and those 3 hot questions are: does Piper have accountability issues? Number 1. This is something you guys can, ask yourselves, and you guys can actually also call in 424-256-1729, 424-256-1729 if you guys want to throw your 2 cents in to Scott, Megan, Emma, or myself, or correct us on anything, because we just watch the show just like you guys. So I'm sure we probably miss some things from time to time. My second question is it okay for Burset to become a woman and dodge her primary responsibilities, which is a hot topic
It is.
from what I've heard going around, and is edging the gateway for Larry cheating? Those are my 3 hot questions. So we got to get to these questions sometime during the episode or
I
whatever.
think we're going to have a debate instead of a discussion.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
We probably will. But this whole Piper thing, does Piper have accountability issues?
I think so, yeah.
Because of this thing going on with her and Alex, does it seem like she's... Because based on what's going on with her and Crazy Eyes right now, it seems like she's, ending up using her as...
Her strong arm.
Alex fodder.
Right.
So to speak. And it's kind of like, oh, that's not cool. Now I see how she got herself into this mess. And it's so funny, like later on in the episode when Larry was hanging out in Cal in the wilderness, how Cal makes the comments about how he just kind of floated under the radar in the family, and he was like really allowed to get away with whatever he wanted to get away with. Yeah. And now that, the older brother is gone and Piper is like locked up, now it's like, oh, he's the creative one of the family.
He's gotta be something.
Right, he has to be something. Like somebody has to like salvage the family name around here.
You have to take into account, how much of a fuck up he is, sorry for my language, that he's gonna be included in the Christmas card this year, and he's never been included in it before.
Right.
So he must have been a great disappointment for them.
Yeah, this
So
guy
now
is...
Piper is like way down.
Right.
Beneath him.
Now the golden child is all the way at the bottom. But I think, as far as the accountability issues, I think she definitely has some because of her. I definitely understand why she's mad and angry with Alex. I mean, it's understandable. You live in this great life, and then all of a sudden your past comes back to haunt you. But at the end of the day, your decisions are your decisions, okay? No one put a gun to her head and said, carry this illegal drug money across international lines, So at the end of the day, she's got to take responsibility and say, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have been doing illegal things with you, my girlfriend who I was in love with and didn't get any money from. Like, it's your own fault.
But I mean, Alex hits it, straight on the head when she says you didn't complain when we were going on vacation, when things were good and you were loving it, and now that you're in here with me, having to deal with the consequences like every other person, all of a sudden you're blaming me.
Right.
I get her. Again, it's not right what she's doing because she's not taking accountability, but I get what she's doing, blaming Alex because she feels like because it was Alex that got her into this mess, that's, she's not taking the responsibility, but it's Alex's fault, according to her, because she would have never done that if it wasn't for her. She wouldn't have taken that money across the border if it wasn't her kind of egging her on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it's right, and again, but I'm seeing that's how she's taking the blame on Alex.
I feel like Piper is a lot like a child, and prison life is making her grow up and see things that she never realized or she never thought about. But leaving Alex, I think, was in a way her being a child and just moving on, trying to run away from what she couldn't face or what she couldn't resolve. So now it's back, face to face with her.
Right.
And it's really difficult for her to deal with it.
Yeah. And then, of course, when her mother and Polly come in and she's just kind of like, she you can also see it in that interaction how she kind of, it's almost like she doesn't get it, and she's kind of mad. And her mom makes a really true statement. She's like, we have to keep on living. Okay, unfortunately for you, we can't call you and ask you your thoughts on certain decisions, which is true.
Right.
You don't think they're going to be like, Piper, you've got to call 911. Please come out of your cell right now. You know what I mean? So she's got to take into consideration, like, okay, yes, you messed up, you're in jail, but there's other people who have to live their lives, and you can't be mad at them for doing that.
Definitely.
You can't, but again, I see her side of wanting to have that normalcy and being included on those decisions in the business and everything because she's stuck in there, that she's craving that normalcy, which we can kind of get into later with the whole phone call she has with her fiance and everything, with the food and everything. So it's like you can see in this episode she's really craving that normalcy right now that she's lacking right now in prison.
I think she's fighting for her sanity right now.
Yeah.
I think it's it's like really like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my mind in here because she's dealing with scenarios that are just not normal. Just not as
somebody's wife now, in a different way.
Right. It's like, and even when Crazy Eyes is going off on Alex for her, she's like, this is my wife. She's like trying to stop her in the middle of her rant. Like, I'm not your wife. Like, wait, I want you to fight for me, but no, not like that. Like, that was just the funniest scene. Like,
so great.
It was also her fault because you can't have it both ways. You can't be saying you don't want Crazy Eyes to be your prison wife, and then also using her to, be your muscle against Alex. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
She sacrificed her pie. What the hell is
That's
that?
what I'm saying. That's that's big.
Yeah, it is.
she's like, I threw my pie for you. Like, calm
I would have
down.
been like, you can have mine.
Right, we're even. But that was a serious, I really felt it. At that point, I jumped a little bit when Crazy Eyes went off. I was like,
Yeah, start slapping herself in the head.
I was like, oh my gosh, Crazy Eyes, he's crazy.
I will cut you. I will cut you. Like, oh no, she,
Even the guards
Like, she
didn't
will
want to
cut
deal
you.
with her.
Right.
They're like, okay, cool, everything cool, okay.
she does the eyes thing. She's like, no, we cool.
Yeah, everything good. Everything's
It's cool.
good here.
I'm like, oh no, she's crazy.
I haven't seen all the episodes, but
not either.
It's gonna be really funny if Crazy Eyes is in prison for like computer fraud or something.
Right?
Something real white collar. I was gonna laugh.
Credit
So don't tell
cards.
me.
So your credit card.
Right.
Something is totally not violent at all.
Well, something tells me it has to do with molesting someone. I don't know, just the thought.
Oh, maybe she just got
You never
down.
know. Or stalking. Maybe stalking.
I know, right?
Stalking, for
Yeah.
Maybe
sure.
she's like
An
a stalker.
ex-girlfriend.
Right. She didn't fulfill her restraining order obligations. Like she passed the 500-yard mark or somebody, and they're like,
Right.
Suzanne is following me in the
Right.
grocery store right now. Come pick her up, please. Thank you very much.
She's very creative though with that poem that she.
The poem? Let's talk about how she requested Piper to be her roommate.
Let's talk about that because that was a funny scenario.
Right.
She's like,
With
who's Suzanne?
yeah.
No, it was her last name. That's what it was.
Warren, yeah.
Warren. It was like, I was like, Warren.
Yeah.
Who's Warren.
She, Healy calls Chapman into the or Piper into the office and is like, "Yo,
Lesbian request
right,
denied.
lesbian request denied." Like, she's totally like denying it, and she's like, "No, oh no, please, no, keep me away from her. She's been after me for days." And then Healy is. He's like, relax. He's like, oh, okay. I just, it's like.
But what is his deal with the lesbian stuff? Like, he's so intense about it. Like, what does he kept going on about? Like, they have extra testosterone. And
Don't tell us if it's in other episodes.
No, but I'm
No,
just.
but I have an early on prediction. Is it okay?
You're always
Is this for season 2?
No, for season 3.
No, it has nothing to do with season 2. I just think it has something to do with Healy's life.
Probably so. He's very. It's kind of.
I think that his ex-wife maybe
Okay.
got switched him
Oh,
for
wow.
a female.
That's a great backstory.
That's a great backstory.
Maybe he lost. That's not a prediction, but that's like backstory.
Yeah.
Info.
Yeah.
Like maybe he did lose a former wife or something, or
Right.
a girlfriend
Yeah.
to a lesbian lover.
Yeah, because it was just, I just don't understand that whole just obsession with that.
Because it seems like he's more obsessed with it than him really being homophobic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it
You know
comes
what I'm
across as
saying?
being obsessed. Of
Yeah,
like,
Maybe he
you know.
it's
really
like-
likes lesbians. How about that?
I don't think so.
He might, because sometimes when people act like they really don't like
Like the
something,
opposite.
they really do. Maybe he's like, when you go into his house, he has like a bunch of lesbian paraphernalia or something.
But then he would.
He has lesbian
would
bobbleheads.
Permit for the activity.
Oh, we're gonna get to bobbleheads in a second, Scott.
Unless he's trying to cover it up because he's so severe with it. He's like, no, this is so bad. You guys shouldn't be in here. Yeah, there should be a wing for
Yeah,
butch
like
females.
a little boys wing that he was talking about. I was like,
Right,
what is
I
his
don't
deal?
know. He might be the opposite.
I don't get that feeling from him.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, he said he wants to take all the butch ones or something.
Yeah,
like
he
that.
had a little boys wing.
And have a little boys wing. Like, really?
Yeah.
I wonder who else would go with scary, crazy eyes.
Boo.
Boo. Mhm.
Yes. Who else? What's her name with the braids?
Trisha,
Trisha.
Yes.
Yeah.
the white girl with the blonde.
she
The
is
blonde,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
bitchy.
But she is in the.
She is.
Well,
Yeah. Technically, she is. I guess.
Because she's technically a butch. I think she's technically would be considered butch.
Nikki, Alex.
But the fact that Healy says that he actually he brought that up in like meetings and requests.
I know. I was like,
That
what is
there
the
really
deal?
is like the butch ones go into a separate wing is hilarious to me.
Yes.
Like you really brought that up.
That's what I know. That this
Wow.
obsession, we've got to find that out.
Yeah, we got to get down to the bottom, the nooks and crannies of why Healy is on this
Right.
lesbian rampage.
Well, if you know why Healy is such a lesbian obsessor,
Without giving too much away.
Without giving
Some
too
of us
much
are only
a few episodes in, yes. Make sure you hit us up on iTunes. Subscribe to our iTunes channel. Rate, comment, give us 5 stars. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about our after show and also Orange is the New Black because we love to hear it. And you can also go to AfterBuzzTV.com and watch us live if you'd like.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes,
Yes.
I like that. You guys call us too, 424-256-1729.
Yes.
Also,
What about this episode being about Burset? I always want to
yes,
say Burset.
yeah, because he mentioned Scott mentioned a bobble. He kind of threw the bobblehead in there. That was a great segue.
The lesbian
Yes.
bobblehead.
To talk about Burset and the swallowing, the bobblehead swallowing.
That's very risky, by the way.
that was big too.
Yeah, I know. I thought she was going to choke. That's why I thought the whole thing was that she did on purpose to choke to then be rushed to the
Right.
emergency room.
Before she had the surgery, she must have had big balls because she does a lot of very risky, like
Yeah.
ballsy things.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that? I mean, it's an emergency now. Like she swallows, like rips the bobblehead. I mean, she could easily have been sent to shoot just for that, I think.
Right. And then, of course, that stuff has lead in it. What if it was made in China? She could be have lead poisoning right now. I'm serious. You got to be careful about these things.
That's true. The doctor said she would just pass it or whatever.
Right.
She's like, make sure you watch that. She says, oh, I think I would know if it passed.
Right. And that is, it's just, I love the fact that this episode's backstory was about Burset and just, because I've always, at first, when I watched this, before I watched Orange is the New Black, I didn't want to read anything. I just wanted to watch it. And so I didn't even know that Laverne Cox, who plays Burset, was a transvestite. I assumed, but I was like, maybe not. Maybe this woman just has a deeper voice and she's just a little taller and a little, broader than most women. Right. But then, of course, after I start watching it and with this episode, you know for sure that Sophia Burset is actually, transvestite in real life.
Transgender, yeah.
Transgender.
Transgender.
Yes.
And I was amazed because I was like, oh, they really, I see her breasts. They look real. And then I
by the
realized,
way, those breasts, I got to give a shout out to the makeup department. I don't know what, I mean, they just looked amazing.
No, I think those are really.
Those are real.
Yeah, that Laverne Cox's.
Yes,
those are
real.
Got implants.
You get implants. You take estrogen. You get boobs.
Laverne, yo.
I think she got a boob job done. That's like
That too, yeah.
Those boobs
But it wasn't
are on
like the
point.
normal boob jobs that you see where it's just like sticking on to you.
Now those are TV
Right.
titties.
Come back to the very beginning of episode 1 there. Nice.
Those things were on point. I got to give it up.
Literally on point.
And even Sophia's wife says your breasts look better than mine.
Right.
The flashback,
Right.
which is true.
Yeah.
So I mean, this I have so many mixed feelings about this whole Burset backstory situation because it's like, okay, I feel like somebody has a right to explore and do what they want to do, how they feel. At the same time, barring sexuality, as a person, he's made certain obligations and commitments that is kind of like, I think he's lucky that he's had the wife that he's had that has been so supportive.
Yes.
Because obviously most wives wouldn't be that supportive.
Right.
That goes without saying. So how do you guys feel about him or her pursuing that and making this change and it being at the sacrifice of his wife and his son?
I mean,
This is a hot topic.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
But before we go there, I feel like I missed something when we were watching the episodes where he said it was either, the wife said it was either, seeing her do the change or dying. What?
I think from like unhappiness.
Because suicide.
He was so, killing himself because he couldn't get the change versus at least being alive, living as a woman and being able to be there for his son, her son.
And I think that line basically sums it up for me.
Right.
It's like basically saying, is it better for her son to have 2 moms or just the one mom and a dead dad? So I think that kind of summed it up in saying that his wife or her wife, his wife at the time, her wife brought up a good point, saying like it was better, and that's why she was supportive. The fact it was better for her son to have 2 moms than having 1 mom and 1 dead dad.
I will say though, at the very beginning, when they did the flashback and Burset is a man as
Firefighter?
the firefighter, which is, as we found out, is her actual twin brother in real life. I didn't even realize that was.
Thank you,
I didn't
Stephen
know
Lemieux.
That was him.
Yes, I did not know that was Burset. I really was just like, well, who's this backstory about this week?
Yeah, I know when it first opened, it was interesting when it opened. I was like, where's this story coming from?
You just see the firefighter going through the files, taking the picture of the banking information, and I was just like, who's it going to be?
It took me a while to understand
Right.
it. And then I connect the credit card fraud with that, and I was like,
And you see him like put on, you see the bra underneath the New York firefighter's outfit. I was like, oh, it makes sense now. There we go.
Right.
But I think if you have to go to that extreme where you feel that you are in the wrong body, that if you're going through all that, it's obviously something that you need to handle. You know, I'm saying like to deny that for him wouldn't have been good for his son or his wife. I mean, it is unfair for the family for them to have to process that, but I think it's also unfair for that person. If you're going to go that extreme, for you to get rid of your penis and to do things like that, then obviously,
I mean, the wife even begged to please keep your penis.
I mean, that's not something you think of lightly to just be like, I'm just going to go do this today for fun, like So obviously there's a deep need to do that.
It's very deep. But the question is, do you feel like there's a selfishness? Because there was a couple times when the wife was changing him, helping him change, and he was saying, you don't have to do this. You don't have to stay. Now, that could easily be interpreted as, well, I need to do what I need to do for me. Forget you guys. I need to do what I need to do.
Right.
I think he was trying to do it in a way that where
I think he was
feel like she had to stay on. She had to stay. Like she could go on with her life and find somebody else, kind of thing. Like that's where it was.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Where it can be interpreted as selfish, because
it could be interpreted either way.
Right, because there's a lot of times in a marriage, there's people want to do certain things and they can't do it because they're like, that wouldn't help us as a unit. That would help me personally, but because we're married and we're a unit, if I did whatever I wanted to do, that wouldn't be good for you. So some people could interpret the fact that, Burset wanted a sex change that was selfish. You got a son, you got a wife, and some people say, well, no, that's what, at the end of the day, it's about yourself. And if you're not happy with yourself, you can't make anybody else happy.
We want you guys to weigh in on this hot topic. Burset changing prematurely, or is it okay?
Yeah, and it's tough on the kids too. You see that with his son.
To me, that's the hardest thing to deal with the child.
Right.
So you saw it at the shoe store, like the kid, dealing with. That's not something I think. Of course, an adult, the wife, it's like, okay, we can sit down and have a mature conversation about this and blah 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 blah. But there's no way a child will never be able to logically be able to process something like that.
Yeah, when you're used to having, especially for a boy, when you're used to having your dad who's a firefighter.
Which is one of the most masculine jobs there are.
Yeah,
probably.
And now he's your mother, and so you got to go places, and how do you interpret that as a young child, especially?
Just a personal opinion. I think if if he made a choice to bring, to have a family and to bring a child into the world. I don't know. I feel like he is being a little bit selfish because now he's messing with the child's mind, psychologically. He has to live through that. As you said, the wife and him could sit down and have a mature conversation and come to an agreement, and say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. Well, I want you to move on with your life. You could find someone. But a child isn't going to understand that.
Right.
And we see that when they're shopping for shoes, how he's so frustrated because he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know if this is his dad, if this is his mom. People are looking at him weird.
Right.
Yeah.
So. And
then he feels a negative energy from the ex-coworker that comes in.
Right. Well, what's really interesting is how when his wife, who's been supportive for so long, came to visit.
Right.
Yeah. And how that visit went.
Yeah.
And it was like the buck stops here with the I need you to sneak in the estrogen pills.
Right.
She was like,
oh, you want me to kiss you and then put it in your mouth?
Right.
Like, at first I was like, is she really going to go with
stick it. What I do is sneak it, stick it up my ass, and then, then I put it on my mouth and then kiss you and blah, 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 blah. And then she was like, have you lost your effing mind?
Right.
And it was like, then we'd both be sitting in here, and then Michael would have known. Then she goes, Michael goes to live with my mother, who would never speak to me again. But she goes through the whole, the whatchamacallit. So I think, to me, like I said, for me personally, it's more about the son than, if it was just him and his wife, I'd be like, okay, well, he needs to do what he's got to do, blah, 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 blah. She's an adult. She'd be able to understand. But I feel like he decided to bring a child here, so...
And it's hard.
It's kind of like you have an obligation to your son,
right? And then the selfishness comes.
And then to change when you become an adult. I know people who have changed once they have. Oh no! We have got special guests showing up in the building, ladies and gentlemen. He showed up right on a hot topic.
Yes.
We have got Michael Harney in the building.
Also known as
Healy.
You must have heard us talking about this.
That's right. His ears were burning.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
What's going on?
Good to see you.
We're glad you made it.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I plugged in Burbank. Encino. So I'm running around Burbank.
Oh, it's okay.
That's okay. You made it.
all good.
That's all that matters. You're here.
As long as you're here.
Yes.
We're glad that you're here. Your character is in the crux of a lot of hot questions that are going on. In fact, we just finished talking about Healy, your character. Healy. What's Healy's? Do we know Healy's first name? Sam. Sam Healy. I just finished talking about his character and his obsession with the non-lesbian activity that goes on in the lich.
Yes.
Right, in the lich.
In the lich. So, we had like well, not necessarily a prediction, but Emma, she was saying, well, she's wondering if maybe in his backstory he got left by a girlfriend or a wife in the past because we don't really feel like he's homophobic. We just feel like he has an issue specifically with the lesbianism that really has nothing to do with homosexuality. It's something more to do with something personal with that character.
Very intense.
Which is very intense. So I don't know if you can.
You're more than welcome to comment on that.
Yeah, you can tell us.
It's it was kind of given to me as something as part of the character, and the way that I personalized it was with Piper. In terms of my feelings for her. So when I found out that she was participating in this other activity, it bothered me. Right?
All right.
But it was on many levels because the relationship is on many levels with Piper.
Right.
For me. So, I don't want to talk about what I'm using and like
of
that,
course.
but it's something that I think will be revealed as we move forward.
Into the rest of the season and probably season 2, as Emma likes to always go into season 2 because she can't wait. She binge watched the season and she's like, season 2. So yeah, we're loving Healy and your interaction with the girls. I mean, if you guys have any questions you guys want to ask Healy? Go ahead. I mean Michael Harney. Sorry. See, you got us. You're doing a great job. You're that guy.
What's the best part about working on this show for you?
The best part for me is really embracing the struggle. Artistically, it's very rewarding because I get to paint with a lot of rich colors. Especially the dynamics of the relationships with the inmates and also with the people that are my superiors. The circumstantial material that the writers have come up with. It really is, it has a nice depth to it. So for me, it's really cool to be able to paint in that arena with really good painters.
Okay. And do you think would you say Healy's a good guy or a bad guy?
That was actually going to be, that's what we were both kind of thinking that because we have not seen the whole full season yet.
Yes, we haven't.
This side has not seen the whole season, so we're like,
What would you categorize him to be?
You sound like my son. Is he a good guy? No, I don't ever look at a character that way. When I approach a part, I always find the positive things to work with. Because all of us are specialists, I think, in terms of what we're doing in our lives. And we have our own versions of clay feet. We have our own human inadequacies. Each of us are very particular. We have our own human frailties. So, and that's part of what I was talking about, was embracing that area of struggle. Well, how do you get through those frailties? How do you get through those limitations? So I don't ever approach a character that way. I approach a character by really saying, well, how am I going to do this? And believing in what I'm doing. I have to find a way to allow myself to believe in what I'm doing. And once I do that, then I'm no longer a good guy or a bad guy. I'm just in the moment trying to achieve this. But I have very specific reasons for doing it, see?
Yeah.
And for Healy, those reasons, as I create them, are positive and life-affirming.
Okay.
Now, what happens to them as he starts to connect with and communicate with the people in the prison, and the people that he's working with, that's another story. And the circumstances, that's another story.
Okay.
So any fun on-set antics or rituals or anything you guys did that you could talk about?
We just have a good time working together. I worked with Genji and her crew in Weeds, for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's real professional. Everybody's really we're trying to make something really good.
Right.
And work our ass off and tell a few jokes and go home for dinner.
There you go.
So it's kind of simple, but we have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any particular thing, but we have fun.
Who is your favorite character on the show?
My favorite character?
Or
I was like, besides yourself.
I was going to say besides Piper.
And Piper.
I don't really have a favorite character. I really feel it's an ensemble cast, and I've been saying that a lot to people in interviews, and it's really true. This particular story, if you look at it like a painting, there are so many rich aspects to it. So many great characters, and each of them are integral to creating what you're seeing,
right.
which is making you binge watch it. So it's not one person. It's not even just Piper. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Taylor's doing a great job. There's no doubt about it. But this is an ensemble cast, and that's really important, I think, to keep in the forefront. I think of Steppenwolf Theater Company many years ago, and they just had this great ensemble group of players.
Yes, I love it. I mean, the Lich is. I woke up like, okay. I fell asleep watching the show. I woke up watching the show. Don't judge me, guys. Don't judge me. Okay, but it's a great show. I mean, no doubt about it. It's a great show, and I expect to see the show get some awards and get nominated for some things. Are you guys shooting like at an actual facility, or what is the actual set? Is it like on a production set, or is it an actual jail type of facility that you guys shoot?
We shoot in two places. We shoot in the studio, and then we actually go up to a children's psychiatric hospital, which doubles for a prison.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And inside the way that the wonderful crew that we have, the art directors have done this, you really feel like you're inside the prison working. So they've anything that needs to be transferred. The basic structure is there in terms of the way the place was prior to them stopping using it. But the art directors have really done a great job in terms of creating the realities.
Yeah, most definitely. I love the way you describe like the craft as far as the paint and artistry or whatever. And you have a great body of work. I mean, NYPD Blue, Deadwood even made an appearance in Ocean's 13. I mean, this dude has done the damn thing, in the game. And you've even, I read that you even like had your own acting school, like you taught for a number of years.
Yeah.
Like, did you find yourself, as far as the craft is concerned, like learning while you were teaching as much as, learning just from being a student?
I learned more when I was teaching. I felt that my students became my teachers. In a very real sense, not in some kind of Pollyanna sense, but in a very true sense, they became my teachers.
Right.
Because they trusted me with their inner material, their emotional material, their psychological material, and I took that responsibility very seriously.
Yeah.
Because even though we were dealing with imaginary circumstances, always, because I'm a big stickler about that. Acting class is not therapy.
Right.
It's really about helping somebody access their lives in a true way, in an authentic way.
Right.
So I forget what you asked me now.
It's okay. You guys can see him. You guys go on YouTube and check a look at this guy. He has the sexy mustache and the Hollywood black going on right now. I'm sure you could double for the guy from the Dos Equis commercials. Most definitely. This guy Michael Harney. I want to go to the bar and have a couple of beers with him after this is over. This is totally cool. The swag is on point, and you definitely bring that to the character. I know you definitely bring that. It's let me go in here and tell Piper how it's gonna be, or she has to go to the show, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But what you're bringing to this character, I mean, everybody loves it. It's definitely one of those kind of pivotal roles that is kind of like the authority is felt through the screen of this character. And whatever you're using is working for the role, because it's a lot of things seem to, like, you know, you have everything going on between the inmates, and then you have to deal with Pornstash and Bennett, and then it's kind of like these guys are clowns because you can't really take them seriously. I mean, Bennett is, you know, he's having an affair with Diaz, and then Pornstash is.
Pornstash. That's his name in life.
So you have to have somebody who seems balanced, and that's where that question, that age-old question comes from.
Yes.
Is Healy a good guy or a bad guy?
Or like what his motivation is, and that's what I'm still trying to figure out in my mind as I've only watched the first 4 episodes.
Go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Last episode we talked about, you know, why Healy was so attracted to Piper. I think maybe this is a question that we could ask you, and from your point of view, why you think the character is attracted to Piper.
I think for me, it's that I felt that she has a strong possibility of creating a good life for herself, both inside Litchfield and then when she goes forward. So that was an attraction for me. I also think just the general male-female attraction is real for me. But I think that I experience her as somebody that is special, somebody that can understand how to do time in a way that's going to assist her to better herself, and then not to become a person that's going to go onto the recidivism train after it's over. And that's very arrogant and egotistical when I look at Healy, if I step outside, right? You know, like I wouldn't do that as Michael, right? And when I'm in it, it's very real for me. Hey, you know, you can be in my club. You know, you can be, because I'm better too. I'm better than these people, you know, on a certain level. Which really, I think, you know, it's real interesting to play that, because it's kind of like people that think they're better than other people. They're usually really shattered on some really, really deep level. And so that's kind of where I'm living in that kind of area. There's a whole part of Healy that I think is really, really pretty shattered. Not that I know that when I'm living that life, but I think that's.
Is he somewhat trapped? Do you feel like he's?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I feel like he's trapped, and Piper seems to be some sort of light in a dark tunnel for him. That maybe through her together, maybe, I don't know, they will be able to get away from this. Like, just keep your head down, do your time, and maybe he sees some. I'm trying to figure out what this hope is. Maybe it's.
I took it in a way like because she is so naive in a way compared to the rest of the inmates. She had to read a book to really understand what you know life was inside prison.
I wouldn't say she's naive. I would have to respectfully disagree with you. I think that she's extremely smart, and I think that as we grow, as we go on, well, I don't want to get into that, but I think she's extremely smart. I know she's extremely smart. She's not street smart. Okay? So, however, she's learning. As you see each of the episodes, she's learning how to become street smart, or not necessarily utilizing those practices, those ways that somebody that is street smart may execute. She learns how to navigate in that arena with people who are truly street smart. including the people that have become street smart, like myself and the other characters that are running the show.
Did you have to study or did you have to get a better understanding of prison life and what a correctional officer does before you got into this role?
I did. I do a lot of studying for everything that I do. I did a lot of watching, a lot of documentaries.
Mm-hmm. Which ones? Locked Up?
Yeah, Locked Up.
Do you really?
Yeah, I watched a lot of
I
those.
like Locked Up.
Yeah. It's very troublesome to me. I did a lot of work when I was a young guy. I did work in civil rights, and I worked in prison reform, and I worked with the Fortune Society and the United Church of Christ. I was working on getting this guy out of jail, and worked on letting people know about prison life and how there was a great need for improvement inside to help people to develop as human beings. So it's not something that's foreign to me. It's something that I kind of, I really kind of melded with it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Healy is, if I can say for a second, he's really, his reasons for doing this, as I think so many people that get into service in social work and in different capacities, in different agencies, in different facilities, their reason for doing it is very positive.
Mm-hmm.
Their reason for doing it is very admirable. And then once they get into it, it becomes a whole different ball game, because you have financial limitations, you have limited resources, they won't let you do your job sometimes, and when you do your job, you get hit over the head for it. So, I see both sides of it because I studied it years ago. And so it's very interesting for me to participate on one side of the fence. I always think playing characters to be able to embrace the gray areas, meaning that I'm doing this, but I'm also fully aware of what this inmate is going through. Well, how can I get through the middle? How can I do this? And how can I do it in a way that's going to be approved by my superiors? What's the most life-affirming thing I can do within this given structure?
Right.
And then the problem, of course, comes in when the characters deal, I have to deal with my own limitations as a human being, and that's where things go, they get skewed and things get messed up. Sometimes.
I don't know if it's just me, but is Caputo Healy's senior officer? This is something I was never clear to
I think
me.
we were trying to figure that out last week. We were talking about that because it was like, was it a lateral or was it because it was weird?
Because it seems like Caputo is always telling the other guards whenever he's commanding the other guards and telling them to do something, Healy's never present, and then him and Healy butt heads at times. So I couldn't.
I'm more on the ground, with the inmates, and he's more administration. I'm using something completely different in what I'm creating, and so I don't. But it's working, so I don't mess with it. But he's my superior for sure.
Okay.
And wonderful Elisa, she's my superior, Lisa Reiner.
Okay.
So. And there you have that structure again. You have this whole thing, man, where it's like, well, how do I get this done? And they're gonna say okay, because I need their okay before I do it.
Right.
So.
Okay. And I'm glad you brought your dog here. He's absolutely beautiful, and he's huge. What's his name?
Riley.
Oh, what kind of dog is he?
He's a lab, black lab.
Really? He's huge. He's like a wolf dog, almost.
Yeah, he is big. That's a big fella.
I know my little dogs be eating for the snack. They're so tiny next to him.
Yeah, it's a pretty dog, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Take good care of him.
And I know that Orange is the New Black has gotten green-lighted for a second season. Have you guys already started shooting that?
We started already.
Oh, really?
Almost finished?
Oh,
halfway
wow.
through? Just started?
No, we're just starting.
I didn't realize you'd already back that quick. Wow.
26 episodes.
That's exciting.
26 episodes.
26.
Tell them 26 episodes.
26.
Everybody gets paid more. We get entertained more.
That's right.
You know?
Have you noticed a difference because this is being, shot specifically for Netflix? Have you noticed a difference when shooting it in that manner versus shooting a feature film or shooting a regular series?
I really don't. The differences in the distribution, the differences in aftermath of the shooting, but the shooting itself is,
Okay.
It's still pretty standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. High quality, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
It is very high quality.
So since you guys are starting season 2 already, can you give us a little bit of music?
Okay, wait. Spoiler alert. Can you put a spoiler alert on
I
screen?
know, Mike. Wait, I need to put my earmuffs on then because
Spoiler alert.
Since they won't let me make any predictions for season 2.
Nah, we can
Can
talk
you give
about
us anything,
predictions, but I can't, and I don't know, I really don't know. I just kind of go with what, it's a journey for me.
yeah, I figured they keep it under lock and key for you. They don't want to give you anyone any too much advance notice.
Okay.
It's like writing, things occur, if you're really kind of just there, if you've gotten to a place where you can just allow things to occur. Well, it's the same for acting for me, it's kind of like I just allow things to occur. I get a script and it's like, oh wow, okay, I'm going to do this now. And but how would I do that as Healy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like having a script for a year. I think of the Moscow Art Theater. They would rehearse a play for a year before they would put it up.
Right.
Wow. Things like that. But
Wow.
now this is pretty fast, and all of us are just living. It's very interesting because we're living through the circumstances that are developing from our wonderful writing team as the character. So it's just this living, breathing experience in each episode.
How important is Healy getting information from Tasty helping him? Is it a personal motivation or professional one?
Oh, I think
I think that's one of the questions also that is like, is he a good guy or a bad guy? Because you don't know where he...
Or a good guy with motivations.
Right, or a good guy with motivation. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that brings up an interesting thing. People get information from a lot of different sources, and you better make sure your information is correct. Otherwise, you're going to mess with a lot of people's lives.
Right.
So that's one of the issues that I deal with in terms of crafting that. And I think it's more professional. It's not really... It's on a personal level as well. Everything I do is personal.
Right.
Everything. But it goes into that area of, well, this is what I do, this is my gig, and I got to make sure that things are running right. So by getting information, I'll know how to head things off at the pass. I'll know how to support people to attain certain positions. There's it becomes a manipulation, which I tell you personally as Michael, that's just an anathema to me, to manipulate people.
Right.
So it's really interesting to play it.
And he did say the spoiler alert, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna jump ahead of episode, but he does, when dealing with Miss Claudette about her early release and her potentiality of being able to get out, when she didn't show any interest in getting out, he seemed to be genuinely and authentically disappointed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I really feel like, okay, well, that's a good quality.
Right.
This guy, maybe he really cares about the inmates. Like, he really is concerned about, I think he cares about order and structure and things not getting out of control, but it seems as if he still cares about their rehabilitation and when they get out, like, them having constructive lives and being good citizens or whatnot. I really, and this is, like I said, jumping forward to next episode, we'll talk about it, but I think he feels like Miss Claudette's situation maybe is kind of like
salvaged, changed,
right.
fixed.
Like, she doesn't need to be here.
She really learned how to do time. There's that wonderful scene with her and Red where they talk about we've learned how to do time.
Right.
And that's how I experience her too. And I have a lot of respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle is wonderful. You know, you meet Michelle, she's nothing like Claudette. So it's really kind of cool. But we're going to talk about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Claudette.
Claudette.
Oh yeah.
Miss
But
Claud.
to piggyback off of your question,
Yeah.
my question is, since you do get a lot of information, especially from Tasty, but there's information that goes around. What do you do with the information? Do you address them? You know, there is a lot of, I don't want to say corruption, but Mendes plays a big role in bribing inmates with personal satisfaction for exchange of drugs or other
Favors.
stuff. Yes. And being his superior, do you address those issues? Do you do anything about it? Or is it just something that's not spoken and kept under the radar?
I think there are instances that there's only so much you can do. And I think that comes down to one's own limitations or their bandwidth in terms of what they can cope with, what they can deal with. But I think that scene where I confront Mendes and say, you know, I'm tired of you and what you're doing. I know full well what he's doing.
Right.
But that's part of the prison running. See, it's running. The clock is turning. The machine is working. It's not working. And so that's what I mean about these agencies and these facilities. There's so many limitations placed upon people that are working within them that they really, at certain points, it really becomes about, well, how can we do this so that this will work? And we'll try to do the best we can do, and we'll try to do the most life-affirming thing that we can do. But we only have a certain bandwidth to do it with. We only have a certain amount of time, a certain amount of resources, a certain amount of financial support to do it with. So what's the best thing we can do in this situation? And then you're dealing with, especially people that have been around for a while, they have their own limitations as people. And then that becomes, that's where I think, although it's highly dramatic, it's also highly dysfunctional when people impose their own limitations and their own character defects onto their occupations, dealing with inmates or dealing with people in social work.
Well, I'm gonna say that Healy is a good guy. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean,
Got my eye on you.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
She doesn't mean it.
right. I think he's a good guy. You see him arguing with the warden's assistant about, you know, budget cuts and whatnot.
Yeah.
So he has a couple of things that have happened or he's done or said or whatever that would lead you to believe that he's ultimately a good guy. He's just
You said there's a good guy with flaws. There, like I think you were alluding to earlier.
Right.
There's layers, and I think layers to humans in general. There's a lot of gray, and you can be good, but you're wondering why people do or why they motivate, what their motivation is for certain things. So I think that's what we're learning about your character as well.
But you know, as you said, there's so much that you could do, or there's so much that you could guide and navigate a person, and after a while, you just kind of have to let them go on their own and experience life, and hopefully take the advice and everything that you've taught them with them to make the right choices. And I feel like that's what, you know, you do with Piper, trying to guide her, but at the end of the day, you know, she needs to learn on her own. And don't want to spoil it for you guys, but the ending is amazing.
You can lead a horse to water.
Don't you tell us. But there's a couple of things in this episode we didn't cover really quick. As far as like Cal and Larry.
Really quick.
Cal and Larry.
Cal and Larry.
Your question that you asked about
Yes.
is Larry cheating? You probably should answer that.
Is Larry, the third question was, is edging the gateway to Larry cheating?
I say no.
No.
I say no.
I mean, it's freaking
Exactly.
Beyonce's in
She has
prison.
a wife.
Yeah, no, I say
know,
no.
She's wifed up.
Absolutely not.
Cheating.
In fact, no, not at all.
Dandelion.
And hey, edging, you mean you're not even doing anything there. It's not.
Well, he's gonna start experimenting sexually. That may make he may not be able to handle that. He may make him want to go out and hire somebody or go to a bar and pick up somebody.
Like we said last week, I do think that you already started to see that gulf between him and her. When he started watching Mad Men. So you already kind of felt like I was seeing that gulf happen, and for other reasons, obviously the separation is going to affect that.
But I think it also had to do with the fact that he got denied phone sex by Piper, and he had.
Can you blame her?
No, right?
She got this lady crying next to her.
That's right. It was awkward, and she was craving normal things like food and Whole Foods, and that's what she was. That's where her mind was.
No, I understand, but to him, I think he had to realize and come to a reality check that I'm not going to get any until 15 months later. So I need to, come with some creative juice to write some things.
Yeah.
So let me just try what Cal is saying.
That's right, but it's not cheating.
Okay.
I don't think it is.
Who takes advice from Cal?
Hey, he's up the food chain now. Okay, Piper's out.
Yeah, he's Larry is desperate for some kind of connection to Piper on the outside world. So. Since we're overlapping and bleeding so much into the next episode, do we have any news and gossip?
Well, wait a minute. We have to talk about the most important, the ending of this episode, which is Crazy Eyes.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. By the way, Michael, was that real pee? Did she really pee?
Oh, sure.
Are you serious? She really peed, and she probably had to pee a couple of times.
No, I'm kidding.
How do they do that? Is somebody behind her pouring? How does that work?
I think they gave her. I wasn't there that day.
You have it in a bag, and
I think there was a device. I mean, these guys
they got it down.
I choose to believe that it was real.
I would like to think it's real pee. It makes it worse.
Although I was crazy, it was crazy. Speaking of crazy, but what are you supposed to do the middle of the night when they said you couldn't go to the bathroom until the morning? I was very confused by that.
Yeah,
what do you just go in your pants? Like what do you do?
I don't know.
You use a maxi pad,
Right.
and then
You cup or a maxi
I
pad.
can't believe when they said that, like, oh, you're not allowed to use the bathroom until the morning. I'm like,
What are you going to do, Scott?
who does that?
Prison, apparently.
She gave Piper a present.
Yeah, and I thought she was going to poo at the end, you guys. I really did. Before they faded to orange.
I think she's scared of Miss Claudette. She wouldn't have gone that far.
Yeah.
No.
Megan thought she was going to
I did. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to poo. There was like a split second. I was like, this is crazy.
See what I got to deal with every week here, Michael? She thought she was going to poo.
I mean, she's crazy.
Well, that's what you do, right? When you're really defiling things, that's what you do.
Can we call her Suzanne?
Now, we're going to call her Crazy Eyes until she earns Suzanne status. We're going to go to news and gossip right now.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Meg Scoop.
So, a little bit of news, and I would like to give a shout out to Nothing Left 06, one of our viewers that's posted on our YouTube show, our YouTube page, I should say. She said, if the voice of Yoga Jones sounds familiar, it is because she was the voice of Patty Mayonnaise on the show Doug.
Oh, okay.
Think about it, right?
I didn't watch that
You
show.
didn't watch Doug? Oh,
Yeah.
it's on Nickelodeon.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yes. Now that makes because her voice definitely did
That
something
makes
right.
sense.
No from
That's
where.
why. There we go.
See, I'm old school. I watched Sesame Street before there was Nickelodeon.
Oh,
Barney.
goodness gracious. Aging yourself there.
Yeah, Big Bird. Before there was Nick Cannon, there was Big Bird.
Namaste. Okay.
I like Yoga Jones. Okay, so is that it for news and
That's
gossip?
it.
Okay, so maybe we can get Michael to cheat on the predictions with us.
Do you have a prediction for your
Or just for yourself, or where you'd like to see your character go in
There you
season
go.
2.
Yeah.
Predictions.
Yes.
I can't really get into.
That's okay.
Ooh, it's the scary music.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
That music is. Yeah. Piper and I will wind up on an island in Hawaii.
White
Is that for
sandy
the
beaches.
is that for the finale for the series there? Like,
Okay.
It'll be kind of like that Corona
you wake
beer
up from the dream,
commercial.
All right. On the 2 lawn chairs,
Yeah.
like on the beach.
and you'll be dressed like this, and
You'll
you'll
be
be
dressed
all
like this.
chill, ready to go. You know.
Okay, until next week, where can we find you guys?
You can always find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream.
And you can find me on Twitter at sman80. That's SMAN80. And here on Sunday nights for True Blood for 2 more episodes.
You guys find me on Instagram and Twitter, Real Emma K, and on Tuesdays at 8 and 10 p.m. Pretty Little Liars and Suits.
And special thanks to our special guest, Michael Harney.
Where
for
can they
coming.
find you? Yes.
today. We love this guy. He's the best.
So much.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Michael Harney 4.
Michael Harney. Do you know I tweeted this guy and he tweeted back in a matter of like minutes? He's on point. His social media skills are sometimes. Oh, I got lucky. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Thaddeus, your host, and you can find me on Club Thaddeus at Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, After Buzzers. Peace.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.